What's up, Jens, guys? It's time for another video, and this one I'm going to tell you guys because there's a lot of good reasons why maybe you should pay attention to shit like this, because maybe you ride a poor man's Harley Davidson, like I call it. Maybe to because I don't want to go on and on about it. I do separate videos about it, but the city of Pittsburgh literally pissed a lot of people off by actually catering to people who ride the old poor man's Harley Davidson, like I call it, or well, anyway, they put in bike lanes. So I would be at home basically in that city, but from what I hear, it costs so fucking much to live there. Um, so yeah, I basically have a thing. I don't want to go on and on, but I don't give a fuck about it being controlled by the Department of Motor Vehicles and anything. But anyway, like one of the jobs I worked at, the benefits to riding one of these when you're up a hill, you can come on the way from or to work and get a nice roller coaster ride down. But the gang stalking thing that I would talk about, the stupid shit that happens, well, this, even if you don't believe like all that shit like other people are saying, you know, I mean, I'm trying to be better about it and be in between and saying it's not all in people's head. People have reasons. And this one I want to talk about, it could be a deal where, say, if you don't even do videos like this and you're somebody that rides a bike or something, people could come up to you like this, and it's unusual for anybody to just out of nowhere ask you in a truck, ask you for you wanting a ride. You're riding a fucking, why would the fuck would they do it? It could be, if you don't believe, because if you think people would do videos about gang stalking or a bunch of schizoids and drug users, I'm talking about a legitimate thing where you happen to be on this and you ride a bike regularly, that, you know, anybody that would stop and ask you a ride, if it ain't somebody you're related to or somebody that you know, it's not out of the goodness of their heart. Why the fuck would they do it? They could be, well, the minute you throw the bike in the truck, before you're ready to get in the truck, drive away and steal the bike just to be dicks and all that. But anyway, but in my area, people would, if it were to happen, it would be, it wouldn't really, in my area, there isn't a big market unless you try to send it somewhere else or go to sell it for hardly nothing, or just give it away to one of your friends, or, you know, paint it or disguise it, you know, not a hell of a lot of gain in my area. Matter of fact, in my town, you could go to a Christian-based bicycle charity that's actually in my town and get a bike for free. So there's no market to sell it. People would still be a dick. But anyway, I didn't want to go on about that. But anyway, yeah, that one of those things happened to me, right? Where people, come on now, they ask, some red truck comes up to me, asks me, oh, I need a ride. Either, and I go, no. I just say, no, I'm fine. Especially when these people know damn well, there's a hill that goes down. Why would I need a ride? You know, there's no real reason unless you're somebody, right? And they just out of nowhere. I mean, this was actually a job I worked at. You know, I'm not going to say the details, that I used to ride to regularly. And one of my favorite hills, I just had to watch. I bent a rim once. There was a big old pothole that dented a rim, but I overpaid online and got these. May have overpaid, but I got these Italian-made rims. You know, anything that has disc brakes like I do, the rims run a little bit more money no matter where you buy them. So this guy, well, anyway, this guy stops like right out in there, because there's the red lights over there and there's a drugstore over there and everything else. You know, it could be somebody that knows you or knows over you and you don't remember all names, and maybe they have opinions about you too. So I don't think nothing of it. I go, oh, no, thank you, I'm fine. And, you know, obviously you got a fucking Bluetooth speaker attached and look like you're enjoying yourself, just like, say you're going up this one hill, walking up it instead of riding up it. It's like some of us do. And then sometimes you feel like you're go into easier gear and go up. You go up one hill and then go down. Get ready for that roller coaster hill, right? But so the person goes and just says that, right? And I don't look like the thing gets me is I don't even look like I'm anybody. Why the fuck do they think people ride bikes? I almost wanted to go say this to people like this. You know, they're up to something. If you don't believe in the people that make videos about gang stalking, whatever, there's an aspect of it. Yeah, they can have intentions to think it's funny. You throw the bike in a truck and you think you're going to get a ride, either go in the cab or go whatever, somebody you don't know. Whether there's a market to sell the bike or they want to take it, sell it cheap, or I don't know. Take off with, So you almost want to ask these people, not that you're being paranoid, it says you almost want to say jokingly, whoa, do you stop and ask people for a ride, every single person that happens to be riding a bicycle? What is it? Is it something about somebody rides a bicycle that they might need a ride, unlike somebody that looks like some poor lowly hitchhiker or something? Or if you're a woman, you shouldn't be thumbing, because if you're a woman, you don't know these people, everybody from truck drivers and that, you can be but you can actually be a woman or a guy, especially a woman walking somewhere, maybe in work, even if you don't have fancy workout clothes or shorts, or maybe you do. Well, stop, and they can stop to see if you need a ride, but if you're a good jogger and things like that, if they try to get out and kidnap you or something, at least you can run away real quick. People don't have good intentions. So anyway, I'm thinking that's all over with. I roller coast down the hill, it's forgotten. And all of a sudden, I see a red truck way in a distance, I'm out at the bottom of the hill when the hill bottoms out. It goes the straight road almost down there. Some of the fuck how this story would be different to people that know me, that know the particular area. So I'd have to give you people out there that subscribe to me an idea that this person was just deliberate stalking, because I'd have to tell you, describe an area like this. The red truck winds up all the way down here, and they yell somebody goes, ride that bike, woo! And then if you got close to them, you wanted to say, what's with that woo shit? Why are you screeching like a 6-year-old girl? Does that make you look tougher? I mean, what, you still acting like an overgrown school kid, but they're far away and they drive off. But the thing is, unless somebody that knows me from my area, I'd have to explain to them how they got down here. And there was, I don't know, I didn't see which way they're turning here, or they went down the hill past. I didn't notice. But no matter which way they went, if they went down the hill and were gone before me, they would have had to turn all the way around somewhere to pass by, just to go out of their way to go say silly things, ride that bike, wee! To try to make fun. It's and then you'd want to ask them, what's wrong with riding a bike? People sell them all over the place. They got bike shops. Walmart is full of them. Target is full of them. A lot of stores. You buy so is there something wrong with riding a bike? Or is it because a particular person is riding a bike, or it gets around, they know that you don't give a fuck about the Department of Motor Vehicles, and that there was a time you lived across from a restaurant years ago, and you just, no place to park a car, you rebelled. I had people say, make jokes and all that act like you're our friends, or they don't mean nothing by it, different intentions, some are your friends. Even the good people, they presume, and they'll say, you're some kind of person that had some DUIs or something, right? Because they don't think it's normal to refuse to actually voluntarily refuse to drive. I actually have a driver's license that I got updated last year. And yes, I was actually going to eventually get a real ID, on the news. Everybody should have a real ID. I'm not going to fly or go to a federal building, but I thought there was one time, not to go too off the subject, I wanted to get a real ID. I have a driver's license. I could drive a car. See, if I got a job where they may want me to drive a vehicle that my license allows me to drive, that take something to, I could do it. So to prove who I am, so I don't get a fake ID, but thought about getting a real ID, because in case I get called to jury duty, whether I get picked or not, it happened years ago, and I guess I'd have to have a real ID, like that federal jury thing. I had to go to the city and go into the building, and I didn't get picked, but I was in a jury once. But anyway, to make a long story short, DUIs. I don't even drink. I do videos about making tea out of fucking dandelions and all kind of natural stuff and all kind of shit, that unusual shit. Coffee is my vice. And so there's people out there that think, I'd even get stalked for the by the police in the middle of an afternoon and they see your ID, which you never, stupid shit like that. But so I got stuff that like it stemmed from people think shit. They think everybody should drive a car, and I always make these remarks that people in these workplaces, they talk down to you, or you're a lesser person some damn how. Because you know your goal in life is supposed to be live on credit, drive an SUV, and all that happy horse shit. Where I had a time, like I said, I lived across from a restaurant, never drove a car, and I decided to be hippie rich and had fancy stereos. Like Jeff Foxworthy said, the first apartment, the $2,000 stereo, you got good tunes, but your first apartment, your milk crates for end tables, you know, like Jeff Foxworthy said. Which times change now, the materialism, the different things change. You don't need a fucking stereo with big speakers now. You can pay a decent amount. You can get a cheap Bluetooth speaker. You can buy a fucking, you can spend a ridiculous amount of money on a Bluetooth speaker. Damn near I saw online, you could buy a Bluetooth speaker set that's just as fucking expensive as damn near as the stereos I used to think I was all badass because I had. And them stereos are junk now, and this now is your TV. You could watch TV on it, watch movies and all that fucking shit. Times change, but well, that extra shit going on and on, it relates. But that's some people you know that know me and all that. That my point to all this was like, people will do the little games, drive-by games, gang stalking once in a great while. It's not like everybody in the world is doing it to you every time you leave the house. Hell no. But people have these opinions that, oh, you don't want to drive a car. Everybody wants to drive a car like it's the norm. There must be something mentally wrong with you. They should go send you to a psychiatrist, or maybe have the police investigate you, see if you're a drug addict. You probably had all kind of DUIs and drugs, and you and yeah, if anybody gets this far with this video, I'm going to do a separate video about it. Yes, the way things are now, because of certain opinions people have and spread, yeah, I want to get certain things published publicly. You know, there's the right to privacy I believe in too, but there's also a thing where that people will look at you anyway. I want to have on, in case for maybe somebody wants to see on a resume. Yes, I've been on a jury. I work for a charity. Yes, I've been on a jury once and got picked. No DUIs, fuck you, you know. Yes, you're fucking right. You know, people do these, people call it gaslighting and gang stalking or whatever too. But, you know, in my case, people think this shit because whether you're on the far right or the far left, both sides got this like you can't even go to some churches anymore. Like, you want to know what kind of car you drive. If you drive no car and you're walking around with money, I mean, I visit churches just to see how people are. So when you, even to say if you get laid off and you hardly have of anything or whatever too, when you're broke, if you could be wearing a suit watching this thing and ride a bike for exercise, it's almost like Max von Sydow said to Yul Brynner in the movie The Ultimate Warrior, when they were talking about cigars. You know, you have a stash of, it's amazing, astounding what becomes valuable. It's astounding at what becomes valuable to us when almost everything is gone. So say you could be driving a nice car, wearing a suit, and maybe you have to, for at least temporarily, what is your status symbol? You know, there's gotta be a physical traits that you have. You know, shouldn't be doing shit that actually kills your lungs eventually, and all that, like vaping, drugs. It also sucks your money. So your status could be another thing. You know, people will look down on you. Oh, you know, you're not some this or that anymore. You know, no matter who you are, people wait to see you fail. You could be in some suit-wearing job too, just like when I worked in construction, some factory jobs. People trying to get you bumped off, playing their games, you know. And then say you could be living on credit, then all of a sudden get laid off all of a sudden, like you see on the news, people who do it way better, pride cometh before the fall. You're fucking living on credit. Not that you're a bad person, you can be a good person. Get laid off out of nowhere, then you don't count on, you're maxing out on credit cards just to live in. And meanwhile, you could have been one of those people looking down on somebody else. Oh, why don't you get a job? You should be constantly working a job. Then all of a sudden you got the credit cards maxed out, and you're still looking for a job, better resume than me or a lot of people. And pride cometh before the fall, no matter who the fuck you are. So what the fuck does it matter? You know, you have this young, along with technology and everything else. Like I was trying to say, you know, when you have a fancy car, fancy stereo, the tech changed, the materialism changed. What you thought was state of the art. Oh man, I'm badass, I got this fancy stereo. It turns into junk. 20 years later, it turns into junk, and now nobody cares. It's like, you still got one of them old things? Or if you have a record player, you can call it vintage. And so, yeah, I still like records, but this through an iPad, you watch, it's your TV everywhere, you know. Some people could be damn near homeless and be watching TV on a fucking phone anymore if they get Wi-Fi. I mean, that's a little extra information, or did I just say where I added? I mean, I can edit this video and make it, post it separately as other subject matter without making a whole fucking video all over it. You know,